Well, hello there, and welcome to War Thunder. I'm Corny Swiss, and today I'm bringing you 1.45 dev server gameplay. And kind of wanted to talk about maybe some of the changes that we initially have on the dev server as it stands, which is obviously its first iteration. We only have two American tanks, the M3 and the M2 something A. I'm sure I'll remember. But basically Stuart variants. And it seems that the M2 something A is the reserve tank, which I think is actually a pretty good reserve tank. And then we have this M3, which has the capability to fire its machine guns, which is also really, really cool. That's another feature that they added into the game. And honestly, I have killed tanks with it, with the machine guns. You can do it. It is possible. I've been hammering tanks with machine guns, like my main gun was knocked out. I just hammering them with the machine guns, and eventually they die. So, there you go. Also, something new is that this map, Eastern Front, pretty cool. I like the idea of the map because it had basically the middle. You're not locked into city fighting, I guess is my point here. The fields on either side are going to be important as well because the city is so wide open. There's not a whole lot of cover in here. The cap circle looks like it can be shot from any side of the city. I had spotted this other American tank here, and we're going to give him the good news. It's another M3. Obviously I'm driving the M3. The Stuart doesn't have, the M2 doesn't have the capability to fire its machine guns, which it's unfortunate, but it also doesn't have as many. I mean, this tank actually has two machine guns. You can see that I'm just laying into this guy with machine guns. The machine guns aren't going to get it done, but the fire's going to do it. Because the Stuart's, the M3 has about 38 millimeters of armor at the front, turret and hull. That's actually not bad. The issue you run into is that the guns that they're shooting with can, penetrate that. But so far, what I've noticed, the M3, just from its stats, has decent armor, not great, has good gun depression, 10 degrees, and that guy's going straight in the drink. I don't know what his plan was there, but, And it has a fast-firing gun with some machine guns for anti-air. And I have shot down some of these AI with the machine guns on the M3. I also kind of like the new gun sounds, or the sounds for this gun. You can see that guy's opening up on something. Something you have to be worried about with both these tanks is that they're very difficult to drive at speed when they're going really fast because they drift and slide, and they handle really aggressively, I guess. So you have to be gentle with them. But more about this Eastern Front map. I think it's interesting. It seems that what they're going for with their quote-unquote city maps is a mix, so that every tank, you can basically have any strategy. Like German tanks, I imagine, could go into the city, but I imagine they'd want to sit back in the field on top of those ridges and kind of just shoot into the city. Maybe not contest exactly where the Russian players are going to be, but maybe sit back a little bit. Now, I don't know why my gun blew out there. I must have taken a hit somewhere. But so far what I've gotten out of the dev server in these American tanks is that the lower tier tanks are very similar to the Russian lower tier tanks. They're fast, don't have a hell of a lot of armor, but they have potent enough guns, fast firing, and they're pretty fun to play. If you get a chance to jump on the dev server next time it opens up, assuming it's not open when this video goes out, do it, because it is nice. They also, in the next replay, you're going to see me using the rescue hook, which is really cool. Also, they changed how artillery works, so we don't have the situation where you could use artillery to gain, a sight advantage, where you could, kind of peek around corners and peek over rocks and things like that. Also added these cool artillery pieces there. Well, with the new artillery system, you can't really do that. You place your arty on the minimap, which to some degree is more accurate, I think, or more accurate in terms of being able to get the artillery on your target, because before it was difficult to do it at range, but on the minimap, you put it over the mark of their tank and you go. So that's kind of cool. But the Eastern Front map I think is really interesting, and I think it'll be a solid addition to the rotation. I like these maps where they're part city, part open field, because it gives everyone a little bit of everything. But I'm kind of just YOLOing around right now. I'm looking for the enemy. I want to kill him. And these games so far on the dev server have been very quick-paced. The other map, White Castle Fortress or whatever it's called, seems to it's a entirely different map design, but still under the same goal of, I guess, allowing every tank to have a job, which is sometimes what, maps in World of Tanks, for example, Himmelsdorf, sometimes takes away the ability of some tanks to do their job. I'm gonna get wrecked here, but yeah. These tanks aren't the most durable things in the world, but that's kind of what you'd expect. Oh, light tank M2A4. That's what the other one's called, the reserve tank. Pretty solid reserve tank, honestly. I think it's better than Panzer IIc. Maybe, probably better than T-26 as well. But solid tanks all around. I think it'll be interesting to see how this dev server develops. I like the changes that are coming in. I really, really do. I think they're going to take away some of the advantage that... Well, it's a small advantage, but the way medium tanks could use artillery to kind of scout which way your gun's looking, and didn't have to guess, which I feel like you should have to guess. Because that's part of the luck. That's part of the game. I'm actually going to drive into the river here just because I wasn't quite sure what would happen. I was wondering how deep this is, so I just said, YOLO! It's too deep. Can't confirm. Too deep. But anyway, this is... I hope when I was driving around you kind of got an idea of what this Eastern Front map looks like. It's kind of a city on the river, and on the outside of the river there's lots of just open land. So let's move on to the next replay. So here we are on the other new map, as far as I can tell. There's only two, which is fine. I like maps. And this is the Fortress map. I joined this game a little late, and I noticed that in team chat there's going to be one of my teammates yelling for help. Fortunately, I'm going to spot him, and I'm going to demonstrate one of the new features of the 1.45 dev server. There he is. He's all flipped over. Very easy to do in these tanks. And I was going to go over there and ram him, but then I realized, wait, I have a tow hook. Okay. I was kind of derping right here. I wasn't exactly sure how to use it. Then I kind of realized, oh wait, okay, hit 0, right, and then just back it up. Alright. Bam, fixed him. That's really cool. And then I just hit 0 to unhook it. Bam, done. That's a really, really good addition. I like that they added that, because you know what? There were plenty of times where my tank got flipped, or someone else flipped, or I flipped them, or unintentionally, of course, but somehow someone or myself ended up upside down, couldn't get up. All that's gone now. You have it looks like I think every tank is going to have a tow cable, and you can just flip them over. Something I'm wondering though, can you use it to haul teammates? What do I mean by that? I mean, like, let's say your teammate is out of cover and his engine's blasted, right? So he can't move. So you, being the great teammate, hook him up, and then drag him behind a rock. Obviously you'd need a lot of engine power, and it'll be big, and like a Yag Tiger isn't going to get hauled anytime soon. But can that be a thing? I hope it is. I don't think it engages unless like the bottom side of the tank is showing though, which is unfortunate. I think that could actually be a really good use of teamwork, I guess. So if like a Ferdinand gets its transmission knocked out and it can't back up to get in cover, friendly King Tiger runs up, hooks him up, and hauls him back really fast before the enemy can shoot him, and the Ferdinand can repair in safety. I think that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if they're going to do it, because I think that would lead, that could potentially open up some griefing opportunities where it's like, you know, you just hook someone at the beginning of the game and just drag them, you know, and they can't play. So I think it may not happen for those type of reasons, but I don't know. Could be cool. However, this map is interesting, and I like it. I said interesting, it really is, because the middle of the map has the feeling of a city map with all the broken walls and rocks and things like that. There's a lot of cover. The outside of the sort of fortress is a little bit of everything. You can see I'm engaging at medium range here. There's a ridge behind that guy. The land is so just tough that I feel like it's actually not going to be very good for some of the German tanks, primarily like Jagdtigers and things like that, because they don't have tremendous they aren't terribly endowed with an engine, so it might be difficult for them to traverse some of this terrain, which, you know, hopefully that's not an issue, but it might be. So that means like getting to the city or the fortress might be an issue for some of those tanks. Obviously with the Stewart it's not, because it's, you know, this fast little devil of a tank. And you can see I'm just laying into this guy with a machine gun. But I get knocked out. Little sad. So sad. There was someone else shooting me. The dev server games were kind of just fast and furious. Hopefully when they have more of a dev server, like more tanks available, we can see different styles of gameplay, more of the traditional tank fighting that we see in War Thunder. I did poke around. I test drove some of the new premiums, and obviously I couldn't draw an opinion from them, but pretty cool. I liked the one specifically that I test drove was the SDK, the KV, like the predecessor KV1 with the 2 turrets. I felt like that was kind of a cool tank. I drove the Tiger P, which I drove the premium and the non-premium. Well, the bundle and the just straight up tier rank 4 premium. And yeah, it seemed like a pretty solid tank. It might be over battle rated. The armor, it has a lot of flat armor on the front, and it's about 100 millimeters thick, just based on the stat lengths. I didn't have enough time really to delve into them, but hopefully next time the dev server's open, or if I get the chance, I'll go poke around with the armor values more. But I think it might not be a very durable tank from the front, but we'll have to wait and see. I also drove around the Sherman that the Russians are going to get as a premium tank. Rate of fire wasn't great. However, it did have punchy ammunition. It seemed like a pretty solid tank. But I don't know, all this will, once I get more time on the dev server and I can really explore with these tanks. I mean, part of the issue I have is I don't know how the dev server works. For example, if I use Eagles to unlock tanks so I can, you know, poke around with them, am I going to get refunded that? Or is it going to be like unlocked when, you know, the server, when eventually things are implemented? I mean, because I don't want to like spend Eagles and then not be reimbursed if I, you know, don't get anything out of them anymore. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how that works. So if you could enlighten me, that'd be nice. Because I wouldn't mind giving those premiums a try, but I want to be assured that I'm not just wasting it. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's probably something I could Google. But anyway, all in all, I think this fortress map, I think it's a pretty cool idea. I don't know necessarily how well it'll play for some sides. Generally, just slower tanks. I don't know what was hitting me here. But I think if the spawns are handled correctly, it might be okay. But there's lots of deep ditches. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see this map take a little bit of a change in the future. Maybe to smooth out some of this terrain, not make so many just steep cliffs. Because something I noticed is once you're in like a valley, it's very difficult to get out. You kind of stay in that valley, which isn't the best, not the worst, but It might be issues if you run into a hold down Yag Tiger and you can't, like, you know, flank, or because you're all stuck in this little valley, or it's too hard to get out. Or maybe you run into a very well angled IS-4 and he's just blasting people. I don't know. You see what I mean, though? There's situations where that might be an issue. However, obviously I haven't played a whole lot on the dev server, so everything I say is you should take with a grain of salt, because I just don't have the experience I need yet to really draw accurate assessments. But I definitely wanted to bring you guys some dev server gameplay. I think it'll be really, really interesting. I think what they're introducing is really good. Like the change to the artillery mechanics, and the fact that now we can like cut down trees with machine guns and generally use them to affect the battle is pretty cool. So yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. Obviously, I'll continue to bring videos from the dev server when I get the chance to. However, you know, normal scheduled program will resume until the next session where the dev server's open. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're excited as I am for American Tanks and all the other goodies they're adding in patch 1.5, 1.45. So yeah, take care. I'll see you next time.